So we're going to preface this video by saying we're going to apologize to all of you guys for the side-by-side combinations that we can't do. We understand some people say, I want this versus a eBook. I want the Kobo Clara color versus a poke. And there's just simply no way we can handle that. Just simply, if you have 5 choices, the amount of combinations is 30 plus videos we'd have to make. So there's just no way we can possibly do all those videos. So we're going to do as much as we possibly can, starting with the Clara BW versus a Kindle Paperwhite 5. You will also be saying, why aren't you doing it against the Kindle Basic? Is because the Basic is just a little bit too basic, and this is the latest hotness. This is as high of a quality of e-reader you can get out of the Amazon line, and this is as high of a quality e-reader you can get out of the Kobo line. We can't really put the Libra in here because the Libra is color and this isn't. So we have to show the screen technologies as it sits. On the left, we have the Kobo Clara BW running a Carta 1300 screen, and on the right, we have a Kindle Paperwhite 5 running a Carta 1200 screen. 1250 would be earmarked for things that have note-taking capabilities via Wacom. Other than that, 12 and 1250 are the same things. This is a flush screen and bezel, which means there's an additional layer of things in front of the screen, as you can see right there. This is a sunken screen and bezel, meaning the actual bezel is not reflective and just the screen is. But what that means is that there are 2 less layers in front of what you can see here than here. Contrast-wise, this is much better. I understand you guys are watching this on a phone or on a PC through a camera being transcribed multiple times, but with the naked eye, this has less hindrance in front of it. It looks so much better. We'll get into the OS a little bit, but we'll show you guys the reading experience because that's really what a lot of you want to see. How big can these go, both of these, is a question we get all the time, and this is what it looks like. You might be saying, well, this is only showing 3 things, and that's because the line spacing, you can actually back that off and back off the margins, increase the margins to create more space. So by doing so, you get a little bit poor spacing, but you get about the same amount of text that can fit in both places. This has more true blacks, as you can see right here. These blacks are very deep, they're very rich, whereas these ones come off a couple shades grayer. Neither of them are pixelated around the curved portions like the P's, the D's, etc. They're both about the same level of smoothness, but I would say this one just has that sheen on top. It also, because of this huge drop shadow, because of the flush screen and bezel, it almost appears that the screen is so much further away from you than something like this. Because you have this height difference, your eyes really just focus in on the screen. There's a lot of R&D that went into that as well. This was out of necessity due to the quality of it, the fact that it has light sensors, etc. They needed that top layer, but you have the glass, you have a top coat layer. There's more things in the way. The Kobo has it down, hands down, in terms of overall quality of the viewing contrast between the background and the actual black characters. In terms of what you can do on them, they're pretty similar, honestly. Kobo and Amazon are very similar in the way they lay things out. For example, you can both do highlights, search, add note, etc. You also get dictionary up top, Wikipedia is right there. You get translation. You can do translation on this from multiple different languages, as you can see here. And you get search in book, search on Google. They all really have kind of the same approach to how you would interact with your unit. If you tap the top portion, you get some ways to change the text. I would say even Kobo goes a little bit further. For example, if you go to font, you get font, bold, and all the sizes and everything, and all the font types. But with Kobo, you can actually take it a step further and go to advanced, in which case you can really change the way this is going to look before and after, and they give you an idea of what it's going to look like. You can revert it, apply it, or just simply get out. Amazon doesn't really do that, but they have their own little add-ons and things like that, like X-Ray. X-Ray is a really cool service that was implemented long back in the generations of Kindles, gives you an idea of people, places, and terms and images. throughout the book, so you can find out who is Firamin. You click on that, he's mentioned 76 times, tells you where he's mentioned, what chapter, what page. You click on it, goes right there. Really cool service. Kobo doesn't really have anything like that. They do have reading stats, which I very much appreciate. This is something that's very encouraging to keep on reading. Tells you how much time you have left to go, the minutes read, minutes to go, and how far you've navigated through the book. So they each have kind of their own way to give you these little bonuses that is in relation to the books that you're reading. I can't stress how much more rich Carta 1300 looks than a little bit of an outdated 1200. Now, we're not saying that this should absolutely trump it and there's no more validity to buying 1200, because that's simply not true. We're splitting hairs, which is our job in the industry. We are meant to assess things and see their differences, etc. But the manga experience, even the way manga relies on fine lines, is much more, it just comes through clearer on a 1300 screen. And this isn't the only device that has 1300. The iReader has 2 units. Onyx has a unit. So they do have this technology that exists in the ether already, but Amazon has not yet implemented that. So things just come off by comparison, not on its own. It looks great on its own. When you have a level of comparison, you then draw parallels to it. Now you can say, oh, okay, I see those fine lines, that scaling, that grayscale, the different gradients in the gray. It all just comes off much more clear on a 1300 versus a 1200 or a 1250, because this is older tech. It is several years old now. Granted, not everything is using Carta 1300, but it is interesting to see them side by side. Finally, to wrap up, the operating systems. They're very similar, these guys. They just project it in a different way. But I will notice, to show you guys one thing, is that Amazon gives you so little space to yourself, whereas Kobo gives you significantly more. And what I mean is, these are your books right here. That's it. That's your stuff. Everything else outside of this little carousel is Amazon's. This is ads. This is recommended. These are additional books. That's the store. That's search in the store. So much of this screen is dedicated just to them selling you additional things. Whereas on the Kobo, these are yours, these are yours, these are my books. All of that is yours. There's no store logo up there. All that's yours as well. Discover is your store logo. So significantly, pound for pound, Kobo shoves down your throat less about their store recommended, what to read next, etc., than Kindle does. And not only that, as you scroll down, this is all Amazon stuff, all Kindle stuff, the whole 9 yards. So it's just very interesting the way they lay out their home screens to give you nothing but store services. But they all have their Bluetooth, synchronization, dark mode, all settings, etc. Yes, Kobo has dark mode as well. It's just in beta feature, whereas they deem it ready to go on Amazon devices. I'm not sure why they would do that. You also have Discover My Books, more on here. Something very interesting that you can do on a Kobo, taking a book out of Pocketbook, is Sketchpad. It's kind of interesting. Amazon has never really had a Sketchpad before, and really in terms of ebook readers, Pocketbook is one of the only people that do this. It's not a note-taking experience. You'd have to reserve that for Sage, Ellipsa, Libreto, etc., or the Scribe on Kindle. All you do is just sketch things down and then click Save, and it saves it as an SVG, which is now discoverable on your home screen. It's right there. So that's really the extent of it. Neither of these have major back-end applications or anything else you can do outside of just reading. They have some light audio features via Bluetooth because neither of them have speakers. So these are the limitations and the use cases of these two units. You can't go wrong with a Kobo. You can't go wrong with a Kindle. Is this encroaching on things like MeBook and HiRead and bigme and Onyx? No, these are in different categories. Something like an Onyx Poke is a tablet with Google Play and audio. Something like a bigme has laser pointer pens and fingerprint unlock. Those are different beasts altogether, but these are considered part of the big three: Kobo, Amazon, and Barnes & Noble. And these guys are the ones that you would want for the most vibrant and robust ecosystem, with millions and millions of books to choose from on both of these. They're market specific as well, so you'll get some things like manga when you're outside of North America. You'll get manga on here as well, but just be less prominent. It just matters what you buy, where you buy it, and what unit is more accessible to wherever you live. Hope this video helped, and the differences between inherently a Kindle and a Kobo, and more specifically the BW and the Paperwhite 5 Signature Edition.